All right, so now that we're moving on to chapter 8, I want to introduce you guys to the inventory table here. So this is what the difference between the periodic and perpetual tables are. So in this case, as you can see, no boxes except for the columns, okay? So in this case, this section right here, the first 3 columns is going to be the cost of goods sold. The next section is going to be, this next 6 is going to be your purchases. All right, and then of course, on the right-hand side is going to be your inventory on hand, okay? So you have the last 3 here with the quantity and everything here. This is how, when we make a purchase of inventory, we keep track of it. We keep track of it by putting it on the right side. Every time we sell something, we're going to subtract it out from on the left side, and then if you would like, this is how I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you how to go from the left side all the way to the right side and go back and forth, okay? So this is the table that we're going to be looking at first. The first couple of times we look at this, so this time and then the next time, I'm going to be using so this time right here, this Fifo problem here, I am going to be showing you the calculations in the middle. Now, as you progress and go through this, right, you will tend to kind of understand it and be able to just take it off from the left side immediately. But because when I post the answers, you won't see the work, I'm going to go ahead and do that for the first couple times. All right, so here for the FIFO, I'm going to use colors as well, so you can keep track of it. Then we'll take the colors off, and then last but not least, we won't use colors at all, okay? So this is the introduction to the perpetual inventory, and in this case, I don't think I have you practice journalizing just because we just did a whole bunch earlier, okay? So in this case, we're just only going to be focusing on just plugging in the numbers and how to, when we sell something, how do we take it out and et cetera, okay? So let's go ahead and dive right into the PowerPoint here. So let's go ahead and get started, okay? So 8.1 going to be the perpetual inventory here, okay? Costing method, all right? That's why. So in this case, let's go ahead and dive right into this, okay? So we're going to be learning FIFO method, okay? So if you remember, we talked about the costing methods, right? Periodic and perpetual will be the tracking method, right? So when we use either or methods, whether it is keeping track of it periodically or keeping a track of it perpetually, right? You're going to have the same concept or same idea on how to calculate the cost, okay? So again, we're going to use FIFO, which is very typical of grocery stores, right? Because they have some kind of expiration date, or you know, they have a date, or they just have, you have to sell out your first batches first, okay? So we call that FIFO, okay? And in this class, so tomorrow for 8.2, we will be looking at LIFO, and then in this case, right, I'm going to show you the difference between weighted average and moving average, okay? They do the same thing where you add up all the total total cost and divide it by the total quantity, but because we are moving along, right, because we're constantly updating our inventory, right, there is a slight difference between weighted and moving average, okay? But the concepts here are all going to be the same. Nothing is going to change here in regards to calculating which batch comes first and which batch comes last, or calculating all of them as grand total, okay? These concepts do not change. It's whether using periodic or perpetual inventory is what's going to change, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at FIFO, first in, first out. So here is the calculations. It's similar yet different, okay? Just because we have a different table now, okay? Well, first off, the purchase price is going to be the same. It's going to be the quantity times the unit price, okay? And then the total cost is going to be the purchase price plus freight. So those are all the same. The cost per item is also the same, right? You're going to take your total cost divided by your quantity to get the cost per item. Now, here's the difference here. the goods available is going to be your total cost plus your total cost of number 2 to equal your goods available. Now, what do I mean by these total costs 1 and total cost 2? Well, when we transfer, right, and I'll show you this in the example as well, once we put in our inventory and we place it on the right side in our inventory on hand, that's how we know how many goods are available. It's going to be looking at our inventory on hand section of the worksheet. Okay, so you're going to basically add up your total costs in that column, and you'll know exactly how much you'll have goods available. Cost of goods sold is going to be quantity times the cost per item, which equals the cost of goods sold. So in this case, we're going to be computing the cost of goods sold every single time we sell a product. Okay? And of course, ending inventory is just going to be your total cost minus the cost of goods sold. Okay? Pretty straightforward. Okay? So let's go ahead and dive into this first exercise here. Okay? So here on June 1st, we made a total purchase of 100 toys at $1.25 each, with the freight costing you $25. Okay, so how we journalize it, you're gonna recognize that we bought toys. Okay, well in this case, did I write toys? I think yeah, I bought 100 toys. Okay, and I placed it on an account. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it into my purchases section in my inventory worksheet because I haven't sold anything yet because I haven't even purchased inventory yet. So in this case, I'm going to ignore the first 3 columns and move right into the section where it says purchases. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put in 100 items at $1.25 with the freight costing $25. So this is where it's similar to periodic inventory, right? We calculate the purchase price, the total cost, and the cost per item, just normal. So in this case, I got $100 as the purchase price, plus $25 gives you a total of $150, and then the cost per item is going to be $1.50. Now this, I'm going to use colors so you know where these, what happens when we subtract the numbers out. So in this case, I'm going to make this yellow. Okay, that's my first batch of inventory. So then on June 3rd, you sold 55 toys for $5 each. Okay? Now, of course, when you journalize it, you journalize your sales, but the cost of goods section is where you're going to start calculating how much it costs you to sell those items. So by looking here, we're going to plug 55 units into my inventory, right, under the cost of goods sold section. Now, in this case, look at my batch of inventory. I only have 1. What is the cost per item? How much did it cost me? And every item I sell from this batch, how much is it going to cost? So in this case, we're going to take this cost per item for $1.50, and we're going to pop it right into my cost per item section, and we're going to calculate now. So in this case, what is 55 times $1.50? $82.50. This is how much it costs me to sell. All right. Do not confuse this section with putting the selling price here. Okay. This is why we have the inventory worksheet, so we can figure out how much to calculate the cost of goods sold, not calculate the selling price. So please do not confuse that. Do not put the $5 here times the 55 because that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for the selling price minus the profit. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for how much it's going to cost me to sell my items, right? So in this case, it cost me $82.50, right? And what I'm going to do here is, now that I figured out this number, I figured out that this is how much it's going to cost me to sell the 55 items. I'm going to go ahead and take it right out from my inventory, okay? So, pretty simple math, right? If you had 100 items and you sold 55, you should be left with 45, right? If you had a total of $150 and sold $82.50, you should have $67.50 left, right? In this case, because we're using Fifo, the cost per item will also stay and remain the same. It will still be $1.50. Okay. Everyone go with me so far?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So then what happens when I buy more inventory? Okay, so in this case, on June 5th, I end up purchasing an additional 100 toys for $1.28 with a freight costing $26, right? Simple. We just pop that into our inventory worksheet, right? Because we're going to have a list of items that we have, right? So in this case, I pop in my purchase of 100 at $1.28. So you're going to solve for the purchase price of $128 plus $26 gives you $154, which then makes your cost per item to be $1.54. Now again, because I have two batches of inventory, I'm going to go ahead and create this another one. I'm going to select it and make it red. So then I have a reference point here, okay? So I have two batches of inventory. If I follow the first in, first out rule, that means my yellow batch came first and then my red batch comes next. Okay? But then this time, right, June 10 rolls around and you end up purchasing an additional 100 toys. So again, you're going to pop it in there, and this time I'm going to make this green. So now you have three batches of inventory. Yellow, red, and green. Okay? Yellow came first, red comes next, then green. So then let's see what happens when we sell something, okay? On June 12th, okay, you end up selling a total of 120 toys, okay? So if I sold a total of 120 toys, let's take a look at my batch of inventory. I have three batches of inventory, okay? If I use the Fifo rule, first in, first out, which batch of inventory am I going to dip from first?
Yellow one.
The yellow one. So in this case, I'm going to get rid of my yellow, and whatever remaining to equal up to 120, which is 75 more items I have to sell to get to 120, I have to take it from which batch? The red batch. Mm-hmm. So in this case, right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it one at a time. So I'm going to start with the yellow, okay? So in this case, since I'm getting rid of the entire batch of inventory, right, I already know 45, if I'm getting rid of the whole entire thing, right, that means that whole entire thing is going to cost me $67.50. Okay? So that's what I do. I'm going to take out my yellow batch first. Okay? And this is what I'm going to do because I'm teaching you the calculations first and then what you have to do next, right? You're going to subtract the yellow batch. So then now you have nothing in the yellow batch. Okay? So then now we need to calculate from the red batch, right? The cost per item for the red batch is $1.50, 54 cents. So in this case, 75 times $1.54 gives you $115.50. So this is what I got to do now. I got to subtract the red batch of 75 with $115.50 to get a grand total left of the red batch to be 25 left at $38.50. Okay, which it gives you still the cost per item of $1.54. Right? So then, because due to the journal, right? When you journalize this, you cannot, you can journalize it separately, but in this case, what's the point of doing separate when you could just put it all together? Because at the end of the day, you're using the same journal, right? You're going to debit your cost of goods sold and credit your inventory, right? So what's the point of doing two separate batches, one for the 45 and one for the 75? You could just add them all up together to make sure that you sold 120, which the grand total of selling 120 toys cost you $183 even. So in that case, you can just, get the grand total so that when you do journalize it, that's what you journalize. You journalize that you sold, your cost of goods sold is $183. Okay? So then right? You totally, yeah, once you reach the end of the accounting period, you're going to total up your total. So you should have a total sold 175 items, okay, with a remaining balance of 125 units left, costing you at a total of $195.50. Okay. So now I have 2 batches of inventory left, right? I have a red batch for 25 and I have a green batch for 100. All right. Good. This makes a lot more sense once we actually dive into the actual exercise, because then we can actually see how I'm doing this, okay? So, next one is going to be, well, what happens if we have beginning inventory? Well, in this case, right, I just talked about it, right? I have a red batch of 25 and a green batch of 100, right? I do the same exact thing I did in periodic inventory, right? I have to carry those numbers over across into a new inventory worksheet. So in this case, I'm going to pop it in just like that, right? Exactly the same exact order that I had it. So I have red for 25, green for 100. Okay? So then on June 18, I end up selling 90 toys for $5 each. So therefore, 90, well, let's take a look at our inventory. Well, we have 100 in green and 25 in red. Well, in this case, if I'm using Fifo, that means I'm going to be getting rid of the 25 first and then the remaining balance from my green batch. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Since my red batch is going to be for $1.54 and I'm getting rid of the whole entire thing, that means I'm going to get rid of $38.50, which I'm going to take it out, okay, which then makes my red account 0. Okay? And then here for my 65 remaining, which is going to be my only batch of inventory I have left, which is my green batch, which is going to cost me $1.57, right? I'm going to calculate that, and then I'm going to subtract it out to leave my green batch remaining 35 units, right? Remaining at a total of $54.95. Okay? And of course, you're going to tally up what your cost of goods sold was. So here, I only have 35 items left in my green batch remaining in my inventory. Okay. Then let's take a look here. On the 21st and 25th, we end up purchasing 100 toys, right? On the 21st, we purchased it for $1.32. On the 25th, we purchased it for $1.35, okay? So once again, you're going to plug those numbers into your inventory worksheet because we're under the purchases section, right? We need to calculate what the cost per item is. So again, 132, okay, plus the freight to give you 156 to give you, 158, and then giving you a cost per item as to 158. Now, because I use colors, I'm going to be consistent to continue using colors, okay? And then I plug in my last one here, which I just used orange. So here, now I still have 3 batches of inventory. The green one is what I originally had from the previous one. That was my beginning inventory. And then I ended up making 2 additional purchases. So the first one was on the 21st for the blue batch, and one on the 25th for the orange batch. Okay. So again, then on the 27th, we sold another 120 toys. So in this case, right, you use the same scenario here. I'm going to take from my green batch 35, and then I'm going to take the remaining of 85 from my blue batch. So since I already know if I'm going to take the whole entire green batch, I'm going to zero it out. And now I need to take away from my blue batch, 85 from my blue batch, which gives me a total of $134.30 to take out from my blue batch. So then that's going to give me a total of 15 items left in my blue batch for a total of $23.70. Okay. Last one right here is on June 28th. We end up selling 65, which then on June 30th, you should have an ending total balance of 50 toys left. Well, let's go ahead and take out the remaining. So in this case, I still have remaining blue and my orange batch is still intact. So in this case, I'm going to get rid of my blue batch, right? Zero it out, completely get it rid of, and then eliminate 50 units from my orange batch to give me a total ending inventory of 50 units at $81 even, with a total cost of goods sold for selling 65 units of $104.70. Okay? So in this one, there's a lot of going back and forth in this one. So that's why this one, it may be more easier to do, I guess, in terms of when we dive into moving average, it's going to get easier from here. But in this case, right, this is the most beneficial way of keeping track of your inventory, especially for items that you sell constantly, right? If your main core of operations is selling something, this is the best way to keep track of it, because then you can know when you need to order more. When do you need, when do you need to raise your prices because of due to the market, right? How can you tell? In this case, right, you don't have enough supply for the demand that you have for your customers, okay? So therefore, this is how you keep track of it, okay? And this is also gives you keep a track of how many items you sold along the way, okay? Any questions here? Okay. So let's go ahead and dive right into our exercise here so we can understand how this works, okay? So here's my first inventory worksheet, okay? Again, I'm going to show you using colors, okay? And how to use the calculations in between. But as we progress and get used to using this kind of worksheet, I'm going to eliminate as we go, okay? So first thing here is, let's take a look at our scenario, okay? So again, you have question number 1 says your inventory method is Perpetual and Fifo, okay? So again, I'm not going to have you practice the journalizing because that part's easy. I need you to practice understanding how to use the worksheet, okay? So first things here is on May 5th, we end up purchasing 1,000 units at $3 each on an account, okay? And of course, the freight cost you $100. So in this case, right, I'm going to pop this into my inventory worksheet, okay? I'm going to skip this section here, so it is May 5th, okay? I'm going to skip the cost of goods sold and go right into my purchases section. So I bought 1,000 units at $3 each, okay, with the freight costing $100, okay? So once again, there's no other tables except for these tables here, right? Only 3 sections that you're looking at. Okay? So in this case, what is going to be my total purchase price?
$3,000.
$3,000, right? I'm going to take my quantity times my unit cost, which gives me $3,000. Plus my freight of $100 gives me a total cost of
3,100.
Three.
I'm just gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so then if I'm at 3,100, what is my cost per item?
$3.10.
Okay, so I'm going to take my $3,100 100 divided by my quantity of 100, I get an even $3.10. So this is what I'm going to do, okay? So for the sake of this class, right, or this section here, I'm going to go ahead and transfer this over into my inventory on hand, and I'm going to also select a color. So I'm going to just do it in order. So I'm going to do red first, okay? So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry this inventory over into my inventory on hand section. So I have 1,000 units costing me $3.10 each, which then gives me, right? So this is where I need to keep my formula in my total cost. Because in this case, my cost per item is going to be consistent because of the idea of FIFO. So in this case, my formula, I'm going to keep it on my right side, okay, on the total cost. So then every time I change my quantity, so if I make 750, right, it's going to automatically calculate for me how much 750 times $3.10 is going to equal, okay? So I'm going to put this number back, okay, because we still have 1,000 units at $3.10 each, which gives me a total of 3,100. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at our next one. So then on May 7, okay, you end up selling 550 units at $10 each for cash, no sales tax. Okay, so in this case, we end up selling 550 units. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to my inventory worksheet. It is May 7. I sold 550 units. Now in this case, I only have one batch of inventory, right? What is my cost per item for this batch of inventory?
$3.10.
$3 and not that one. $3.10. Okay? So then I need to calculate how much 550 times $3.10 is going to equal. So in this case, if you are using Excel, best rule of thumb is I'm going to use equal round. Even though $3.10 is a rounded number, this is so then your numbers are consistent and your formulas are consistent, okay? Because in this column, right, we will get items that will not be very friendly, right? We might get 3.12587, right? So in this case, I want to round the number towards the end. So I'm going to calculate my formula here, right? And did anybody solve how much is going to be my total cost of goods sold here?
$1,705.
$1,705. So I need to format this so then it is like that. Okay. So here, $1,705. So what I'm going to do here is this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you what to do here. I'm going to subtract 550, okay? And because my total cost was $1,705, right? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and calculate so then I know how much to update my red batch, right? So if I started out with 1,000 units and I sold 550, how many items should I have left?
$450.
450, okay? And then same ordeal over here, right? If I had 3,100 and I sold $1,005, how much should I have remaining?
$1,395.
Good. So to make this, so it's gonna be really color forward. just to keep track of it, this is all from the red batch. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and go over here and I'm going to update my inventory. Okay, in this case, I don't have 1,000 units anymore. I only have 450. So if I type in 450, it's going to automatically calculate to me to verify that I should have 1395. Okay? As you can see, you don't really necessarily have to do the calculations in the middle, but because I'm showing you how it goes from left to right, that's what's going to happen. You're going to purchase your inventory, place it into inventory on hand. You're going to sell an item, calculate how much it's going to cost, take it out of your inventory, and then update your inventory on the right. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. So in this case, I have 450 units left at 310 for a total of 1395. Okay. So then on May 10, I ended up purchasing an additional 850 units at $3.25 each with a freight of $75. So $850, $3.25, and $75. Okay. So once again, it is now May 10. I'm going to skip over the cost of goods sold and I'm going to pop this number in here. So in this case, we purchased 850 at $3.25 each with a freight costing $75. So what's my purchase price going to be here?
$2,762.50.
Good. Plus my freight of 75.
$2,837.50.
Good. Which then brings my cost per item to be
$3.34.
$3.34. But let's actually confirm because I believe it is not an even number. So this is where I have this number here where it's more, it goes on forever, right? It's not rounded. So in this case, right, like I've mentioned before, if you're selling items by thousands, right? By rounding up to 34 cents, you're losing out 0.7 cents every single time. In this case, if you lose 0.7 cents, you sell 1,000, you lost $7 right there. Okay, and no, you don't want to do that. Okay, especially if you are looking at selling, selling in bulk in large quantities, right? So you want to round towards the end when we hit the cost of goods sold. Okay, so in this case, there it is. I have a new batch of inventory, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select a new color. All right, I'm going to go ahead and select, maybe let's do yellow. Okay, so we can see a huge difference. So that means I'm going to transfer this amount over, right? I have 850 units, okay, costing this 3.3382 something, right? And of course, I want to make sure I calculate it to make sure that I should get $2,837.50. And I'm going to make this my yellow batch, okay, just as a reference point. Okay, my yellow batch. Okay. Now, because we have these numbers here, right? What you can also do too is down below, I can dedicate this whole row right here to be my goods available, right? So I'm not going to do colors here, but I'm going to go ahead and equal sum this. So then every time I have purchases of inventory, right, and I place it in here, what's going to happen is it's going to give me a total across. So in this case, I have a total goods available of 1,300 units, okay, at a total cost of $4,232.50. So this is your goods available, and that's what I was talking about, right? You take quantity of one plus quantity of two to get your total goods available. So that's the difference between this and the periodic one, right? The other one, we just sum it up in a table. In this one, that's my goods available right here, okay? So that is this section here, okay? So then let's go ahead and see what happened next. Then May 12th rolls around and you sold 360 units at $10 each. So you end up selling 360 units. So let's take a look, okay? It is May 12th. And we sold 360 units. So let's take a look at our batches of inventory. What do we have? We have red for 450 and yellow for 850. So in this case, which batch of inventory am I going to take from first?
The red.
The red one, right? So in this case, right, my red one gives me a cost per item to be $3.10. So once again, what is my total cost of goods sold for selling 360 items for $3.10 each?
$1,116.
Good, right? Let me double check that was what 360, yeah. So $1,116. Now this is what I'm going to do just so then I can kind of visualize it, right? If I started out with $450, right? Sorry, 450 units for my red batch, right? And I am subtracting 360, then how much should I have left?
90.
You should have 90 left in your inventory, okay? So same thing here. If you want to double check your work here, you could take your total cost, right? And do the same thing here where you start with $13.95, right? And you sold 11.16. You should have a total of $279 left, okay? And this right here, once again, all belonged to my red batch of inventory, okay? Just so then I can keep track of it. So therefore, I can update my inventory now. I now have 90 items left, which should cost me $279, which is correct, right? It is correct, okay? So then now I only have 940 units left on hand to sell. Okay? Is everyone with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so let's move let's move a little quicker then. So now on May 15, you end up selling 600 units. Okay, so May 15, find a blank area, May 15, we end up selling 600 units. Now let's take a look at my inventory. Do I have enough to sell 600 units?
No.
Not from the red batch, right? But in this case, right, that means we got to dip into two different batches of inventory. So we have the red batch for 90, and then we have whatever 600 minus 90 is, 510. And this part, right, like I've mentioned before, I'm going to make this a calculation because this one, we need to keep this as, so when we journalize our cost of goods sold, we don't do two separate ones. We just do one whole entire one. And this also makes sure that we did sell a total of 600 units. So in this case, 90, right, which we already know, 90 is going to cost me $279. Okay? You don't need to calculate that because you already know you're going to get rid of the entire batch anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and also make that indicator here that I'm subtracting the 90 so then I can verify that this is 0. Okay. All right, same thing here. I sold my first 90 units, so that should bring my red batch to become 0. Okay. So then I'm going to go ahead and update this so then I don't get confused, right? So there you go. I have 0 in my red batch. That means I have 850 left to sell. And this time I'm dipping into my yellow batch. So this is where the equal round formula is going to come into play because, like I said, I'm selling 500 units. If I round up too early, I'm going to lose a lot in my cost of goods sold. Okay? So in this case, I'm going to keep my cost per item, which is $3.33824. I'm going to use my equal round formula to calculate how much my total cost of goods sold is. So what I'm going to do is they usually say rule of thumb is at least 6 digits after the decimal should be good enough to give you a good measurement of the rounded number. Okay? So in this case, right, let's calculate that. What is my total cost of goods sold for selling 510 units at 3.33824?
$1,702.50.
Right, I didn't do my equal round formula. Comma 2, 1,702.50 cents. Good. So once again, I'm going to add these two numbers up. So that means me selling a total of 600 units cost me a grand total of $1981.50. So I just added the two numbers up together. So in this case, right, I'm going to carry down my yellow batch of 850 because I will need to calculate this. Okay. If I sold 510, how much should I have left?
$340.
$340. Okay. Same thing here. If I had $2,837 and I sold $1,702.50, I should have a remaining balance of $1135 even. Okay. So again, this was the yellow batch of inventory. Okay, keeping track of it. Okay. So then let's go ahead and update my inventory, right? Because I no longer have 850 units. I have 340 left. So then with this automatically calculating for me, I should have 1135 even. Perfect. Okay. All right. So that means I have 340 units left at 1135. Okay. I'm going to make this my calculation one. So I'm going to make that my calculation. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and see what happened next. So then it is now May 20th, right? We end up purchasing 300 units at $350 with a freight costing $20. 300, $350, $20. Okay. It is May 20th. We purchased 300 units at $3.50 with a freight of $20. So what is my total purchase price?
$1,050.
$1,050 plus $20.
$1,070.
Okay, which brings my cost per item to be
$3.5666.
okay, no worries. Got you.
A lot of sixes.
Okay. Okay, so good. That means every Every 3,000 you'll lose 33 cents. Okay, if you round up, okay? So therefore, there you go, and I'm going to make this one green. Let's just do the rainbow. Green. Okay. And I'm going to plug this number into my inventory worksheet. So I have 300 items at 3.566667, which gives me a total cost of because I don't have enough space. 1,000. Oh, that's because the decimals. Okay, so boom. Okay, so 1070 is my result. Okay, so okay, and I'm gonna make this batch my green batch. Okay, so now I have a grand total of 640. Okay, units left to sell. Okay. So then let's go ahead and go around here. It is now the 22nd of May. Okay. You sold 450 units at $10.25 each. So here's the key here. You sold 450 units. So plugging those numbers in here. Okay. It is, what was it, May 22nd? We sold 450 units. So in this case, let's take a look at my batch of inventory. Do I have enough to sell 450 units?
Yes.
In grand total, yes. But for the yellow batch, no. We only have 340. So therefore, we got to dip into two different inventory, right? So we got 450 minus 340 gives you 110. Okay, so in this case, 340, right? We know we're going to get rid of this entire batch here, so we don't actually need to calculate this, right? Because we know it's going to cost me $11.35 at the end of the day, okay? So whether you want to equal round it, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do it because I want to keep my formula here. Okay, so there you go, $11.35. And what you could do here, once again, you can eliminate it here. Because you know it's going to be 0. Okay. This is just so that when you do see the answers later, you know where all the numbers are coming from. Okay. 0. And this batch is from the yellow batch. Okay. So now I can go ahead and update my inventory because I got rid of my yellow batch. So now all I have left is my blue batch for 300 at a total cost per item of $3.566666. So that is exactly what I'm going to do here. Okay. And what is my total cost if I sell 110 items at 3566667? What is my total cost here?
$392.33.
Good, right? $392.33, giving me a grand total that I sold for all 450 units is going to cost me $1,527.53. So once again, I'm going to eliminate that from my green batch. So how much should I have remaining?
190.
190. Okay. Okay. So 190. Okay. So if I started without 1,070 minus the 392.33, I should get 677.67. Okay, and this was all from my green batch of inventory. Okay. So therefore, I need to update this. So let's see, what is this? 300, and I should have 190 left. So there you go. Boom. I should have 67767 left. Okay. All right. So then let's see what is the last, or I guess, let me see. 25th of May. You end up purchasing additional 650 units at $375. Okay. 650 at $375 for a freight total cost of $50. 650, $375. $650 at $375 with the freight costing $650, $375 with the freight costing $50. So what is my purchase price here?
$2,437.50.
Good. Plus my $50.
$2487.50.
Okay. Which brings my cost per item to be okay, 3.82692. Right? And I'm going to make this one, what other color did I not use? Blue. Okay, there you go, blue. So then I'm going to go ahead and pop that in here because I have new inventory. Okay, for 650 units costing the 382,692, which it gives me a total cost of the 2487.50. Okay, so now I have a total number of units that I can sell is 840 units. Okay. So then let's see what has happened next. So May 27 rolls around and it says that you sold a total of 740 units at $10.25 each. Okay, and at the end of the month on May 31st, you have a total of 100 units left on hand. Okay, so we sold 740 units. So let's take a look here. Okay, it is May 28 or May 27. We sold 740 units. So let's take a look at my inventory. I have my green batch and my blue batch. So I'm going to eliminate my green batch first for 190. That means I need to take 550 units out from my blue batch. Okay. So grand total 740. Okay. So in this case, my 190, right? We know what that gives us, right? It's going to give us the 600 377.67. So you don't need to calculate this, but I'm doing it as a reference point here. Okay. Okay. 67767. Okay. And I'm going to eliminate that from my batch of inventory. So I know for sure it's gone. Okay. Now all I have left is to sell from my blue batch, which in this case, it's the only batch I have left in inventory. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate my green batch. So that means I only have one batch of inventory, one batch only. So in this case, I can only take whatever I can take. So the cost per item is 3.8269. So that's what I'm going to pop here. So let's calculate this. How much is it going to cost me to sell 550 units at 3.82692?
2104.81.
21.4, good. All right, giving me a grand total of $2,782.48 for selling a total of $740. Units, excuse me. So this was from, oops. This one is from the green batch. Okay, and then we need to subtract from the blue batch minus 550, which leaves us a total of 100 units left. Okay. So this one, you can obviously use the calculations in the middle here to just double confirm that when you are calculating this, that everything is correct. Okay. Right? So that means you should have 100 items at a total of $382.69 in your blue batch of inventory. So let's go ahead and take this out here. 100 left. So you should have 38269 left with 100 items left in inventory. Okay. Any questions here? And that's correct, right? You have a total of 100 units left on inventory. Okay. Any questions here?
No.
Okay. All right, so let's take the next 40 minutes to go ahead and just do the second one. But the second one, I'm not going to do all this clutter. So I'm going to try to make it a little more easier for you guys, okay? So let's go ahead and do the next example. So question number 2, right, says continue from above, okay? And your inventory method is still perpetual and it's still FIFO. But in this case, right, on May 31st, you have 100 units left on hand, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pop in my beginning inventory because that's the first thing that's on here, right? And I'm going to put it in here that May 31st, I should have a total of 100 units costing 3.58, okay? So therefore, it should be the yes, it should be the $382.69, okay? I'm still going to use the colors just so as a reference point, then we can eliminate it the next time around, okay? So this one was from my blue batch of inventory, okay? So let's go ahead and see the next scenario. Okay. So then on June 5th, we end up purchasing an additional 800 units at $4 each, with the freight costing $100. Okay. So it's June 5th. June 5th, right? We're going to skip the cost of goods sold section and go right into here where we bought 800 units at $4 each with the freight costing $100. Okay? So here, what is going to be my total purchase price?
$3,200.
3,200. Okay? Plus 100.
3,300.
Okay? Which brings my cost per item to be
4,000 $4.125.
good. $4 125. So this is where this is the dangerous one because we have a split penny going on here. You have to keep really good track of this one because of the split penny, right? We could possibly create a penny, half of a penny somewhere. Okay, if we are going to be rounding the cost of goods sold, that's where you want to put that extra penny. You never want to round your inventory on hand because that's where you're going to have that penny difference. Is that if you round both inventory on hand and your cost of goods sold, you'll create that penny out of nowhere. Okay, so that's why if you notice this, I never entered equal round on my inventory on hand. I left it the way it is by just doing a simple calculation, right? Where on the cost of goods sold, I want to round my answers, right? Because think about it, in reality, right? Can you charge a customer half a penny? No, you would have to round it. So that's the same situation here, except for cost of goods sold. Your journal, you have to do it in terms of dollars. Can you journalize half a penny?
Yeah.
Is there such thing as me saying that I sold things that were half a penny?
Oh, no.
No. So that's the idea here. It needs to be terms of dollars here. So this one needs to be rounded for your cost of goods sold. But for the inventory worksheet itself, do not round. Okay? So in this case, there's my batch here. And I'm going to go ahead and just transfer the information over. And I'm going to make a reference point here that this is going to be, let's see what batch I want to make this color. We can make this, I guess we can make this, let's go backwards in the color scheme. We'll make this, we'll make this nice green, okay? So now we have two batches of inventory. And of course, you can also make your little sum table so you know what your total cost of goods available are. Okay. So I have a total of 900 units costing a grand total of 3,600. Okay, $82.69. Okay, so that's that right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue on with the rest of the problem here. So let me do this and make sure you know this is a calculation. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what happened next. Okay, so from here, you sold on June 7th 350 units at $10.50. So you sold 350 units. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, say this is June 7th. We sold 350 units. Let's look at my batches of inventory. I definitely have enough to sell 350 units, but in the terms of batches, I don't. Okay, I have to split my batch once again. So I have my first one is going to be my first 100 items. And then I need to sell, 250 more to get 350? Okay. Right, I sold 350. Okay. So therefore, right, I know I'm going to get rid of my blue batch, right, of 100. Okay. And there you go. $382.69. Okay. And in this case, I'm just going to make a reference that this was for my blue batch, so then I don't have to do it in the middle, right? Instead of cluttering this section here, right, I'm going to say this is from my blue batch, and I'm going to go ahead and eliminate it right away from my inventory on hand section. So there you go. I got rid of my blue batch, and now I only have 800 units left remaining with my green batch. So in this case, green, right, was for $4.12.5. Okay? So in this case, I need to do my equal round formula here. So how much is it going to cost me to sell 250 units at $4.12.5?
1,000, 1031.25.
Good, right? If I add these two numbers together, it should give you a grand total of $14.13.94. So once again, this is from my green batch of inventory. Okay. So if I sold, let me see, 800 units minus 250, that gives me 550 remaining. So I can just do the calculations right here. And this is using Excel, so it's a lot more easier to do so. All right, so that means you should have $2,268.75 each, right? If you do the calculation in your head or just looking at this, right? If you take 3,300 and you subtract 1031.25, you should get $2,268.75. Okay. Now, yes, you can also, if you want to, it's a little more extra work. If you rather not have this a calculated formula in here, you can also reference the 3,300 and also subtract it out that way. So then you have the numbers being consistent. Okay, and you're making sure that you don't run into errors. But in this case, I think it's just easier if I just have the formula there, so it calculates for me. Right? So there you go. So now I should have 550 units left at $2,268.75. Okay? So then let's see what happened next. Then on June 10, we purchased 750 units at $4.25 each with a freight of 75. So 750, 425, 75. And this is June 10. Okay. 750, 425, and 75. Okay. So what's my purchase price here?
$3,187.50.
Good. Plus $75 worth of freight gives me a total cost of
3,262.50.
good. So that brings my cost per item to be $4.35 each. Again, you will get rounded numbers, and you will also get the possibility of unrounded numbers. So in this case, we got lucky. We got a nice even number of $4.35. Okay. So in this case, there it is, 3,262.50, and I'm gonna make this. I'm running out of colors here. Let's make it yellow. Let's make it orange. And we'll make this batch orange. Okay. So there you go. So let's see what happened next. Then on June 12th, we end up selling 450 units. Okay, 450 units. Okay, so it is June 12th and we sold 450 units. Now let's take a look at my batches of inventory. Which batch am I going to take out from next?
The green.
Yeah, the green for $4.12. So let's do our calculation here. How much is it going to cost me to sell 450 units at $4.12?
Uh, 1,856.25.
Okay, and this one was from the green batch. Okay, so therefore, okay, so if I had 450? So 550 minus 450, I should have $100 remaining. So therefore, I should have left $412.50 for green. Okay. Again, you can do this if you look at your previous one of earlier. We had 75 cents each minus 25 cents, so you should have 50 cents left. So that one's good. Okay. So now you have a total of 850 units left to sell. Okay. So next one on June 15, we end up selling an additional 500 units. So if we sold an additional 500 units on June 15, okay, let's take a look at my inventory. I only have 100 left in my green. That means I need to sell 400 from my orange batch of inventory. Okay. So if I know that my 100 is going to be for my $4.12, that should give me $412.50. Okay? And of course, this is my green batch. Okay? So therefore, I'm going to eliminate this right off my inventory on hand. Next is my orange batch, which I'm only selling 400 from. Now this one is a simple, easy round number for $4.35 each. So how much is it going to cost me to sell 400 units at $4.35 each?
1,740.
1,740. This is my orange batch of inventory. Okay, so that means grand total, I sold 500 units at a total of $2,152.50. So in this case, 750 minus 400 is going to give me 1522.50. Okay. All right. Good so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So almost done, guys. So again, June 20th, we purchased 600 units at $4.05 each, with the freight costing $20. So 600 units at 405 with a freight of 20. 600 405. 600 405 and freight of $20. purchase 600 units at 405 with a freight of $20. Okay. Okay. And this was on May 20th. Okay. So what's my purchase price here?
$2,430.
Plus my $20 freight gives me a total cost of
450.
okay, bringing my cost of goods sold to be
$4.08. 33333.
okay. Bring that over into my inventory on hand over here. Right, to give you 24.50. Okay, and now I need to make this another color. I'm gonna make this. Guess we could go yellow. You can tell that no, you can't really tell. Red. Well, I guess we'll go with red. Okay, so there you go. Batch of inventory is for red. So now we have a total of 950 units available to sell. So then on June 22nd, you sold 250 units. Okay, so June 22nd, we sold 250 units. Okay, so which batch of inventory would it take out from?
The orange.
The orange at $4.35 each. Okay, so equal round here. So what's my total cost of goods sold here?
$1,087.50.
$1,087.50. So let's subtract that out. So 250. So 350 minus 250 gives me 100 items left. So I should be at $435. Okay. Okay. And this was orange batch. Okay. So then last on the 25th of June, we purchased an additional 350 units at $435 with a freight of $50. 350, 435. With a freight of 50. Okay, so purchase price.
$1,522.50.
Okay, plus freight. So
$1,572.50.
$15.72.50. So then that makes my cost per item to be right 4.49286. So plug that in to your inventory on hand over here. So we have an additional 350 costing $4.49 here. Okay, to give you a total cost of $15.70.50. And I guess I'll make this one yellow since it's not next to orange. Okay, there you go. So let's go ahead and see what happened next. Then lastly on June 27, you sold 550 units. Okay, and on June 30th, you have left 500 units. Okay, so 550 units is what we sold on the 27th of June. So 550 units. So let's take a look at our batches of inventory. Okay. So we're going to take from the orange of 100, and then we're going to take from the red of whatever amount that is. So 100 from orange and 450 from red to give us a total of 550 units sold. Okay. So if I know that my 100 is going to cost me $4.35 each, that should give you a total of $4.35. Okay. And this is orange. Okay, and we're going to get rid of it off of our inventory on hand, right? It's 0. So now we're going to take from a red batch. The cost for my red batch is going to be $4.833333. So let's go ahead and solve for the cost of goods sold for selling the 450 units. So what's my total here?
1,837.50.
Okay, 1,837.50 if you add these up together. Okay, so therefore I need to do my calculation. Okay, 600 minus 450 gives me a total of 150 remaining at a total price of $612.50. Okay, so therefore I should have a grand total of 500 units left on hand, which was correct, at a grand total cost of $2,185 even. Okay, and that is how you do perpetual inventory, okay, for FIFO. Okay, tomorrow, same idea, except we're not using FIFO. We're going to start from the bottom and make our way up to the top, okay, in terms of batches. But idea is the same. You're going to be interweaving through the scenarios, okay? Any questions in regards to chapter 8.1?
No.
No.
All right.